Hello, journalism students. Today I'm going to show you how to use followthemoney.org. This is a really not so well-known site that is so important for people who are following elections and are trying to decide who to vote for. I'm going to focus on some Utah candidates today, and this will be really valuable for my political beat reporters because if you can see who's funding the candidates, that shows a lot about what that candidate actually stands for and what their policies are going to be like. All right, so we're starting here. It's just followthemoney.org, and the first thing I'm going to do is go to find my district right here. And I'm not going to tell you my actual address, but I'm going to say that I live in Provo, Utah. I'm going to hit go. All right, and so from right here it says I am in House District 64 and Senate District 16. So I'm going to write that down because that will be important. So House District 64. Oh, well, I better put 064. And Senate District 16. All right, we'll refer to that later. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is scroll back up and I'm going to hit candidates. All right, and so now it's going to show a list. Now this is from 2012. We don't have any information about the upcoming election yet. And I believe that's because they're not allowed to start receiving funding until a certain date, which has not happened yet. Okay, and so we're just looking as though we're looking at the 2012 elections to see who funded them. So the first place I'm going to go is I want to look at my local elections, and for this class we really want to focus on local elections because a lot of people don't pay attention to that, but they should because what local officials are doing has such an important impact on us where we live. So in my district, remember I'm in Senate District 16 and I can check, oh yep, Senate District 16, and the winner was Kurt Bramble, so I'm going to click on him. But not right click. Okay, and it will show you the top contributors to his campaign, and we have some interesting ones. Energy Solutions, and that may be an important point to bring up, that Energy Solutions is a little controversial here in Utah because it deals with nuclear energy and nuclear waste and that kind of a thing in part. That's not the only thing they do, but that is something that a lot of people have had issues with, and if they do, then Kurt Bramble may not have been the candidate for them. We also have some other interesting ones. Verizon, which is interesting because that's not a Utah company, so you kind of wonder why they're supporting them. And yeah, so those are some of the more interesting ones that I found. We also have the Workers' Compensation Fund. That's one that it's not a union, but it does kind of, it is interesting that they're funding him. And so you can kind of look, if you don't know what any of these are, you can take a look at them and see what the company's all about and look into that. So now let's see what his opponent was all about. And I'm actually, to do that, I'm going to go back, because it's a little hard to find the people that lost the campaign. And so I'm going to scroll down. I'm back on this page. I just went back, I hit the back button, and I'm back on this page where it told me we're at my House and Senate district. And I'm going to scroll down, and these were all the people that ran specifically for my district. And so the person who lost in that Senate race was Gregory Durden. So I'm going to click on his. And oops, I need to click on him again. Okay, there he is, Gregory Durden. It should say his name at the top. Okay, and here's an interesting thing. It looks like most of the people who donated to his campaign were individuals. It wasn't specific companies. Really, all you've got is the party, the Utah State Senate Democrats, and then his own personal contributions. This is interesting because we can see that the Republican candidates in Provo, surprise, surprise, receive a lot more funding than the Democratic ones. I don't know if you could use that for a story, but that is an interesting point to bring up, is that the Republicans here in Provo, Utah get a lot more money than the Democrats. Right there. You can see the difference. All right. And so let's say, so I'm going to now go back again, Provo, Utah. Went back a little too far. This is why I'm showing you this website is because it is a little difficult to navigate. And so I'm hoping if you need to pause or anything to figure out, whoa, how did she get there again? Please do so. You might need to. I know they're updating the website, which is going to make it a lot easier in the future. So back to candidates right there. And let's take a look at our governor and see who funded his campaign. It's Gary Herbert. Y'all should know that by now. And so we can take a look and see Association of Realtors. You're going to see a lot of businesses supporting him. He's got a pretty hefty campaign. You can also look down here and see the top industries that are supporting him. So what kinds of businesses want him to be the governor? You'll notice a lot of stuff about computers, oil and gas, manufacturing. Those are the kinds of businesses that for some reason want Gary Herbert to be their governor. And so you can look into that for a story and see, why are all of these kinds of businesses interested in him? And what does that mean for the state of Utah? I won't give, yeah, so that's that. And then you can also see the Democrat, here's the Democrat that lost to Gary Herbert, which was Peter Cook. And you can kind of see what his, so there he is at the top. And one thing that is interesting is that he has a lot of labor unions who were giving money to his campaign. So he was somebody who probably was going, his platform was probably to help unions in there. So that can be an issue. There's a lot of people in Utah who really, who are a part of the unions, and they probably would want to vote for a candidate who supported labor unions. There's also a lot of people in Utah who are quite opposed to labor unions and what they do. So these are just all interesting things to put into. I also thought it was interesting that Zions Bank was actually somebody who donated to the Democratic campaign. So anyways, these are just things to look at and can at least help you get an idea for how can I make a news story about this candidate? Who's funding him and what does that really say about him or her in this race? I'm just saying him because the people that won this particular election were male for the governor. So, all right, so there you go, and I hope that was helpful, and feel free to ask me if you have questions. This is a little bit confusing site right now.